Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, I'm your host, Mrs. M. And if you haven't, make sure you click the link below. That way you can subscribe to my channel and not miss out on anything you need to scale your business to six figures and beyond. Pow! So in this video, I am going to talk about what you need to do in order to understand that government contracts are not dead. I'm actually in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. It is very, very hectic, but we always must remember that there are always going to be contracts, but you need to make sure you position your small business as if it's essential. Now, I've never spoken a lot about winning a contract through certifications, whether it's veteran, woman-owned, never really talked about that. And I've always talked about making sure that you are listed as a small business, which you do through your stamps.gov. I've also talked about my O.B.A.R.T. system, which still functions very well. As a matter of fact, even more so, because I talk about what is it that you're going to offer. And I've always taught my students and anyone that's followed me on YouTube that you have to have something that's different, your signature offer. Now, what we're going to do is position that and make it even more effective and tight right now with all this going on. I know a lot of you are losing your contracts. A lot of people are concerned. A lot of the ones that are really being taken are like consulting, a lot of consulting contracts. And I know they're talking about the top like 10 consulting firms. There are a lot of them in this area, and even where I am in Ohio, where my mom lives, that are being affected. A lot of these are consulting. Consulting is a little bit hard to put your finger on because it's not something that you can really say can be essential. So I can see where there may be some cuts with that when it's hard to justify if it's essential to what's going on now. So we want to make sure that we're positioned still in the sweet spot. I've always talked about 25 to 250. The other thing is we want to make sure that we position our company, and position means this is where we are. We've positioned it where we appear to be essential. Now think for a second, when there are contracts that are being cut, or when there's a government close down or shut down, who still functions? Military. We talk about certain things that still go on, even if there is like there's a closing of the government. That is what you want to focus on. That is what I've always talked about when it comes to, if we were to shut the government down, there are certain things that you're able to just Google and get into each agency what is still essential, and that's important. Now, when I look at my O.B.A.R.T., my O for offer, I'm always talking about positioning yourself with your signature offer that really stands out. If you've done this, and if you do this, you won't have to try to stand out only on certifications and only on certain other things that may not seem essential, especially now. The next thing I talk about, my B is for buyer. Yes, there's a lot of shifts in who's doing what, but there's still going to be the same agencies that are going to need things that are essential. That's what's going to matter. So when we look at ICE, immigrations and customs, and we look at some of the things they need, I know some of our students have won contracts on the insignia right now, badges, belts for the uniforms. I know someone that actually has a border control, a border customs contract. These contracts have not changed. They're essential. I know some individuals that are winning military uniform contracts. They're essential. So there are some things that are not going to change, and this is the good thing. The good thing is I want you to start doing your due diligence and finding out what's essential and then looking at what you can provide. Now, one of my favorite that are always going to be what we look at as essential is DLA, Defense Logistics Agency. And DLA does a lot. I'm just going to kind of look up some of the things they do. So DLA does aviation. That's going to be essential. DLA does troop support. That's essential. DLA does land and maritime. That's essential. DLA does energy. That's essential. They do disposition of things, disposing of things. That's essential. And there are so many other things that they do. So one of the things I love about DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, and I've always spoken about that when it comes to DIBS, these are essential services. So this is one that probably will not change. And once again, when you're looking at who your buyer is, I've always spoken about understanding what their mission is and making sure that you align up with percentages and facts on why they should use you. Because I'm going to be able to save your agency 25% in time by doing this. I'm going to be more efficient. I'm going to be more effective. I've always taught my students that, to give the, not just the appetizer, but the meat. Put the entree there to give them something to chew on why they should choose you. And I've always spoken about facts and figures. So I know a lot of you are like, you know what, not sure if this is for me. I get it, but I'm going to tell you one thing. When the dust settles and people who really aren't looking at doing this kind of go different ways because they're looking for another side hustle that they could do instead of a viable business, guess what? Those of you that are still here, still standing, still working, still learning, and still understanding, you will make the money and do the contracts. I'm telling you. But the ones that are not really wanting to be serious, not really, they just want this as a side hustle, want a little something to do real fast. It's never been that. Yes, there were a lot of contracts that were easy, but those of you that are really here, put the time in learning, you will still win contracts, and you'll even win more, because as time goes on, only the serious people will be teaching this and be winning it. Trust me. So if you want to hold firm, hold the course, yes, it's going to be a mindset shift like I've always talked about. And I've talked about understanding and reading a lot so that you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it. Now, if you'd like to learn more, make sure you click the description where every week I do a GovCon Lunch and Learn. And during my Lunch and Learn, I give you exactly what you need in great detail, sharing my screen, and I give you all the things on that particular subject. Now, this week I am doing on how to win contracts, even in 2025, when it comes to SAM.gov. So if you want to understand that, what is still considered essential in SAM.gov, then make sure you join me this Wednesday at noon. And until next time, make sure you stay safe and continue to know that you can win government contracts if you stay the course. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.